Hi, Easter was Sunday. I'm still thinking about it, and I think you should be too. You know, Easter being on Sunday, the hunting for eggs is over and the ham is gone and the decorations are probably already back in the box. The Easter bunny has left the building and the world went right back to where the world does. It goes back to being Monday on Monday morning. But hey, I'm still here with some good news, and welcome, especially if you're new from the newsletter. We sent it out this week. I mean, I send out the newsletter every week, but we finally announced that this show is happening. This is now our 12th episode of the year. That means that we are committed to being consistent. I didn't even know if I was brave enough to do this. And so thank you for coming and watching me. This is called the Jason Hewlett Show. Lots of F words around here. Faith, family, freedom, fatherhood, fitness. You know, we're going to do funny and farce and all that good stuff as well. And this week, I want to tell you exactly why we're here doing this show. This was a big week for our family in more ways than one. We got back from spring break to Mexico and we had a whale show up. I wish I could have heard them do that. I tried. I was like, and we came home to news that broke our hearts. So today we're going to talk about all of it because that's what this show is. There is opposition in all things. That's the plan of happiness. There is no good without evil. There is sadness, but there is also joy. God delivers that for us and gives us that opportunity. And so the good news doesn't expire, not even on the hardest weeks. Thank you for being here. Stress, mental fatigue, emotional drainage. This is the exact moment your family needs you the most. And that's when I started what I call the doorway reset. It's just 5 seconds. Hands on the door, breathe, let go, choose who walks in. All right. I have to say thanks to my amazing team. They're all around the world. And here's the thing. Sometimes I'm supposed to press play and they're supposed to press. I missed it on that one. So they covered for me. They're awesome. I'll hit it on the next one, guys. I'm still learning how to do this. They're amazing. So we need to maybe do some applause in the chat for them or in the social media feed, wherever you're watching this from. But when it comes to this show today, let's just give you a quick coming up on the show. Freedom of speech. Where's the good news? That's what we'll be talking about in that section. The full story is about the good news doesn't expire. And then faith from the Newsfeed. We're going to talk about Hawaii and the helpers there. And there's some big disaster happening in Hawaii. And faith and hope, the passing of a friend, joy and sorrow. And then Father Time, we went to Mexico as a family, like I said, and we're excited to share about what we saw jumping out of the water, including some videos. So if you're listening, you might want to check out the video portion at least. And Funny Factory, what it's like to travel to Mexico these days. We're going to talk internet fear. And then fitness, brought to you every week by our sponsor, Cardio Miracle, the world's best nitric oxide product and vitamin D3 delivery. And so we'll discuss with Cardio Miracle as well as the order of discipline and how you can be lazy in your discipline if you're not careful. So now I'll hit it right. Let's go. Let's jump right in. Here we go. Freedom of speech. Let's talk about it. Where is the good news, my friends? The other day I was scrolling. I was doom scrolling. And my phone was in hand late at night. Everything in front of me was conflict, disaster, outrage, misery, a world on fire, and a feed full of proof. I put the phone down and I asked out loud, okay, where's the good news? I literally went, where is the good news, please? Can we get some? The question is answered by the reason we have this show. I put it together because I figured there's got to be more good news in the world that we can share. And I relaunched my newsletter this year at the beginning of the year. If you're on that list, I appreciate you subscribing, and you can get that on my website at jasonhewlett.com or on LinkedIn. I do post on there every week as well. But we relaunched my blog after it was dormant for a year. I shut it down because I had other projects I was working on. I kept a blog for 10 years consistent every Sunday. And so now we've relaunched. That went out this Sunday. You probably saw me talking about this show there. Some of you are here because of it, and I welcome you. And the newsletter announced this broadcast, this weekly Thursday show that we do. And for me, this is really hard because my schedule is very difficult to be able to commit to this one time, one place. And so I'm very grateful for an awesome team. And the reason I wrote the blog and I wrote really the reason I'm doing this show is because someone needs to carry the good news. I decided it might as well be me. And it's not because I have everything figured out. I mean, you'll hear today about a week that was both the best and the hardest in recent memory for our family, and in the same 48 hours even. But joy is a discipline, and the good news is a choice. So here's what most people don't know about the word gospel. And what you may not realize is we're going to talk faith here. We're going to talk God. There's no limits on that. But gospel, it literally means good news. In ancient Greek, euangelion. I know when I learned Portuguese in my mission in Brazil, it was evangelio, and in Spanish, it's evangelio. So euangelion, the whole Easter story, the resurrection, the empty tomb. The disciples called it the good news, not the doctrine, the good news. So Easter was Sunday, 4 days ago. The world already moved on, but I haven't. Because here's the question behind the entire show. What if the good news didn't expire when the decorations came down? And what if it's still true on Thursday? You know, in your marriage, your career, your family, every ordinary week. That's essentially joy, humor, humanity, not as a mood, but as a mission. And joy isn't what happens when life cooperates. It's what you bring when it doesn't. And this show is a good news broadcast. So every segment, every week, we find the promise in the news, hope in the grief, the moments that matter in family, discipline when motivation is gone. We do it all with enough humor that you don't feel like you're in a lecture. I hope you don't, even though these are going to be monologues for the first many of the podcasts because we're still trying to figure this whole thing out. I don't want to bring any guests on yet until I'm really good at doing this. So that's why I'm here every Thursday. I'm glad you showed up this week. And the first of the good news, do you want to know what it is? My son Romney. Let me show you a picture of my family. For those that are listening, if you want to check back on the recording and check out the family. Here's my beautiful family. We took this photo last fall before Redford, who's in the blue, went on his full-time mission to Argentina. He's in Santa Fe, Argentina for 2 years. Guess what? His brother, next to me in the picture, the big giant one, his name's Romney. He's in the white shirt. He just got his calling to serve his mission in Antigua, Guatemala. Yeah. We were so happy for him. He opened the calling, which comes from the prophet of our church, in front of all of the people at our home. It was very, very special. Lots of friends came. Here's a little, I tried to make this image work because there's a picture of Redford on his mission in the corner. And there he is in the same photo behind that. And then Romney told him about this before he opened it or told any of us. So Romney opened his call before any of us knew, and then he opened it in front of his whole family. So Redford was ecstatic because Redford is learning Spanish in Argentina. Romney will be gone in Guatemala for 2 years learning Spanish as well. We are so excited they get to learn this beautiful language and that he gets to serve for such a great, great thing. As parents, this is a day of benefit, of gratitude, of happiness. This was our reaction the second he said Guatemala. Somebody took a nice picture of us. It was very kind of them. Here was Romney's picture with the flag. As you can see, he's holding up that flag a lot, proud, that blue from Guatemala. Pretty cool. We had to do a lot of research. Apparently Antigua is on the UNESCO World Heritage sites to see. So we're excited to have him there. And then here was a group of his friends that were there. These are all boys. A lot of them are headed out on their missions too soon, and we're going to find out where they're headed. It's just a really special time for our family. So thank you for celebrating with us. And we're so happy for him because he not only had his friends on Zoom, family on Instagram, people watching from all over the world. We thought he might be going to the Philippines, because he's been back to that part of the world, which is beautiful and amazing. And we really hoped that for him if he got to travel somewhere. But to go to Guatemala, we were ecstatic. He's in our same time zone. I mean, he's going to learn Spanish just like his brother down the road in Argentina, essentially. And it's an incredible, joyous time of our lives. So watching young adults turn into powerful adults, it's hard to describe because they were once little kids and now they're growing up. So I have a question for you. What did your information diet look like this week? What was it doing for you? Because I know that when I start scrolling, the bad news starts to come up a lot. And that's, like I say, why we're here. So how can you make sure the good news is coming? And where did you find good news this week? Even in a hard week, if you had one. And is your joy a mood or a mission? I know for me, the promise of joy is truly my mission in life. That's my true promise. The promise to spread joy wherever I go. And even in the hard things. There's hard things that happen in joy. So who in your life needs you to be a good news carrier right now? Maybe you could share this broadcast or podcast with them and say, hey, this guy, I saw him perform or I heard him speak. He's somebody you ought to listen to because it's good news and I appreciate it. And he's spreading good in the world. That's a cool thing. And I appreciate you sharing this good news that we'll be sharing today. So we're going to dive deeper into that in just a moment. The good news exists even in the hard weeks. And speaking of the news, we're flipping the script tonight. We're going to jump right now into the full story. With the full story, the good news doesn't expire. We're obsessed with breaking news, aren't we? We want the latest update, the newest scandal, the freshest outrage. But have you noticed how quickly breaking news becomes old news? Yeah, it has a shelf life shorter than a gallon of milk. It expires, it rots, leaves us feeling empty. But I'm here to tell you, good news doesn't expire. The good news isn't a headline, it's a lifestyle. And when you promise and keep a promise to your daughter, say that you made 3 years ago, well, that doesn't expire. So good for you. When you choose integrity over a quick buck at work, that story doesn't have an expiration date. So when you decide to be a man of character, when the world is choosing performance, that's the good news that your grandkids will still be talking about at your funeral. And today, I want us to stop chasing the news that breaks and start building the news that lasts. Because 20 years from now, no one will remember what you tweeted today, but they will never forget that you were the man who stayed. And so, what is a piece of good news about your character your children could tell someone right now? What could they brag about you, about their incredible mom or dad? Because you have it. You need to make sure that they understand that you're a good news carrier. And are you inviting your best energy into things that expire with the sunset or things that endure for a lifetime? And if you had to write your own headline for today, would it be about a conflict you entered or a promise you kept? I write in my journal every single day. It's interesting to read where my life is at when I focus on the negative rather than writing about the positive things that are happening. And what is one timeless truth you want to anchor your home in this weekend, regardless of what is happening in the world? As we roll into the news portion of this, we're going to be talking about some amazing communities that are showing up for each other. And so, my friend, as we roll out of the full story, let's jump into the newsfeed. So let's talk about the good news edition. Today we flip the news feed, and every week I find the leadership principle hiding something hard. Tonight we go looking for good news on purpose because it's there. You just have to choose to look. Communities are showing up for each other. Hawaii was flooded. You heard about this, right? The whole North Shore of Oahu, one of the prettiest places on the planet, taken out. Horrible mess. I have a photo here that's just like devastating to see this sadness, right? This is awful. What happens when we have a horrible mess? You know what happens? Good people show up. This is the National Guard. Yeah, these guys, man, they're walking through the water. They're doing what needs to be done. I mean, they still have to get changed and handle their own families, their own messes, but here they are. National Guard shows up, neighborhood and community did what needed to be done. Disaster relief cleanup happening as we speak. You know, I love this picture. Kids helping out. Everybody coming together to be just a little bit better. It's a good thing. I hope that as you continue to look for good news, I'm seeing my friend Captain Kindness. He just said, I appreciate that idea for good news, looking for good news internationally. Yeah, it's so right. I mean, or intentionally. Yeah, as we look for it intentionally, that makes a difference. And hey, internationally, I guess that would be cool too. Here we are nationally looking at it. You know, and I'm thinking about a disaster, and you might think about disasters this way as well. Sometimes we think, well, there's nothing good that comes out of this. There's, you know, not everything is bad. Everyone's lost their things, and people have passed. And I mean, there are horrible experiences people are going through. I so appreciate what Mr. Rogers had to say. If you remember this great saying, he said, when I was a boy, I would see scary things in the news. My mother would say to me, look for the helpers. You always find people who are helping. I believe that. I know that. I've seen that. And after every disaster, people move toward the need, not away from it. The human instinct toward generosity never makes the front page, but someone quietly kept their promise to another person this week. That's good news. And like Captain Kindman said, great to look for good news intentionally. And so I'm so thankful for the good people that are out there doing good things. It makes a big difference. Someone quietly kept their promise to someone else this week. That's good news. Families are returning to something larger than themselves. You know, Easter Sunday this year, 2026, saw some of the highest church attendance in years. People walking through doors they haven't walked through in a long time. Not because everything is perfect, but because they needed something that would lift their souls. So young people doing extraordinary things. Easter having people at church. This is good. Every week, somewhere, a teenager raises money for a hospital. A college student starts an organization. And a 15-year-old, well, we'll talk about that one in a moment. The news you choose in the world is the world you live in. So when it comes to the bombings a few weeks ago in Puerto Vallarta were real. We almost didn't go to our Mexico trip because the news said you probably shouldn't go to Mexico. But the news didn't tell you about the whale. You're the editor of your own information diet. The leader who looks for the good news on purpose is the one who still has fuel when everyone is running on empty. And so as we do transition out of good news and the news feed today, we're going to roll into something that's a little bit harder of a transition for me to share. But because good news is out there, but this week, good news and heartbreak arrived in the same 48 hours for us. And Easter, the original good news, is the only lens big enough for both. Faith and hope, right after this. Well, this was the week that held both. And when I say both, it's the happy and the sad. So I need to tell you about last Thursday. We're a week from since this has happened. We landed from our trip in Mexico. I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. And the whale was still fresh on my mind that we saw. And it was one of the best family weeks in recent memory. And it was amazing. And then the news came. My son, Royal, got home. Our whole family got home. My son, Royal, got home. He was so happy to see his friends. He was inviting them over. And suddenly, he received the most devastating news possible, a phone call from a dear friend. It was that one of his closest friends had died in a car accident that night. This boy was 15 years old. Now, I'm going to share his picture because he's a very important boy. in our family. He's been a friend of ours for many years. This is a picture of Royal on the side posting about his dear friend Xander. He said, Xander, the best brother I could have ever asked for. Had to leave me today at 6:22 p.m. Just know I love you, bud. I'll keep your legacy going in the business and everything. Long live Xander Hoover. Love you so much, Xander. Miss you already, bud. LLX. This broke all of our hearts. Xander had been in a car accident, and another young lady passed away as well that we didn't know, and another boy survived. So thank goodness for that. But it's been the most difficult thing to watch our son go through losing a dear friend. Xander's been over to our home many times. He's the kind of kid who just belongs wherever kids were, and he was like a powerful hunter. He was a mechanic. He was just a great fun kid, and now he's gone. I don't have a leadership principle for this one. I have grief, and I have a boy's memory and a family in my prayers and a son who lost his best friend, essentially. Easter was 3 days ago, and I know Easter hit different for us this year. I need the good news to be true right now, not pretty and not theological. I need it to just be true. So here's what Easter actually says. Remember this, 2,000 years ago, essentially a young 33-year-old man was killed unjustly, publicly. And on the third day the tomb was empty, not metaphorically. The stone was rolled away. He was not there. He was alive. He is risen. That's the claim. Hey, and if it's true, and I believe it is, I believe it. I hope you believe it. It changes everything about last Thursday for our family, for sure. Xander was 15. Here's his obituary. Xander was 15. He had a whole life ahead of him. A bunch of best friends, along with my son, a family who loved him fiercely. I do not know why last Thursday happened. I'm not going to pretend to. But Easter says something no philosophy or self-help system says. Death is not the end of the story. That is the good news. It was written for this week and for this family. So to Xander's family, we see you. We're praying for you. He mattered. He was at our house. We loved him. The promise of Easter is that he's somewhere between, somewhere better than anything we can imagine. So we love you guys and wish you the best. And to my son, you are allowed to fall apart, my boy. You're allowed to be angry. It's okay. Good news will still be here when you're ready. It doesn't expire. And to everyone watching or listening who's holding grief right now in your life in some way, and maybe this has brought you down, I hope it hasn't brought you too far down, to know that there will be something of good to come out of these things that are difficult. Easter was written for you, not for the easy weeks. It was for the week you came home and found out someone was gone. And the tomb is still empty on Thursday. That is the good news. Easter holds grief and joy in the same hand. So did this spring break. We almost didn't go to Mexico, you guys. And then something extraordinary happened. We're going to talk Father Time right after this. All right, we almost didn't go, and then we saw a whale. Let me tell you about the weeks before we left on our trip to Mexico. My phone was full of alerts. Your newsfeed was probably exploding too. Puerto Vallarta, the horrible bombings, the shootings, what was happening, cartel activity, travel warnings. My wife and I kept asking, should we go? We're pulling up 17 travel blogs looking for the one that confirmed what we already wanted to believe. We were going to Cabo, San Lucas, not Puerto Vallarta. But, fear doesn't care about geography. Mexico was in the headlines, and that was enough. It took courage for us to get on that plane, not reckless courage. Informed, intentional, let's go anyway courage. We even signed up with the U.S. Embassy just in case, with all of the paperwork we would need in case something crazy possibly happened. So such is travel nowadays. And let me tell you, Cabo was beautiful. Look at this picture. Have you ever been to Cabo? That cool arch out in the middle of the ocean, it is so awesome. What a cool place. My kids unplugged. We had a great time. My wife and I exhaled for the first time in months. I read 2 books. One of my favorites that I read was The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. This is such a great book. If you ever feel frustrated, like let's say you're in sales or things aren't going well, I want you to just listen to the first line of this book. It says, "He was an old man who finished alone in a skiff in the Gulf Stream, and he had gone 84 days now without taking a fish." Drought, a streak, things not going well. Well, this is the next piece. It says, "Everything about him was old except his eyes, and they were the same color as the sea and were cheerful and undefeated." I hope that you'll remain cheerful and undefeated. It was so wonderful to sit and read this book by Hemingway by the pool for a moment. I read the whole book. Yeah, it was nice. And then we went whale watching. Now, let me just tell you about whale watching for a second. Usually the whales don't show up. I don't know if you know the promise of whales. You're going to be disappointed, but you're going to have a nice boat ride. That's usually the most promise they can make. That's actually every boat ride we've ever done that was a whale watching tour. I don't think I've ever seen the whales. So I'm usually like, well, at least we got to go out on the water and feel sick. So no, but this day, man, we were hugely blessed. We not only saw whales off in the distance, we saw them near our boat. It was unbelievable. So I'm going to show you some of the video. You'll see the guide like standing up front because I filmed her for a second. She's like, 11 o'clock over there. Look at 10 o'clock. I mean, it was amazing. Massive, prehistoric, not one whale, a mother and her 2 calves. The boat went completely crazy and totally quiet. And I'm going to show you some videos. You ready for it? Let's do the one of the whales right next to us. Oh man, that video's gone. I guess I messed that up. Let's see. I'm hoping we have this other one, and if not, darn it, I'm gonna have to see if I can hunt it down. Locate file. It's like asking me, where did you put this file? Okay, well let's see if we can find it. That's hilarious. I could have sworn I had this already, you guys. Okay. Ah, there it is. Let's see if it'll load. Did you see that? It was pretty quick, right? Let's try it again. Pretty cool. So we saw some pretty neat things. It was amazing. And I'm just so glad we went. We almost missed this whole thing. We almost didn't even get to see the whales, just like you didn't almost get to see them on my video because I don't know how to make this thing work every time. But that's what you get for me running this stuff. The leadership principle isn't always go to Mexico, just so you know. The leadership principle is, fear is not a travel agent. That's the thing. It doesn't know your family. It doesn't know what's on the other side of the decision it's trying to stop you from making. Informed courage isn't recklessness. It's doing the research, making the best call, and then showing up fully, presently, for the people counting on you to lead. So my kids will remember the whale, and they will not remember the 17 travel blogs that tried to scare us away. I'm actually going to tell you a little bit more about that in just a minute. We're not going to talk about the fear. They'll remember their dad saying, "We're going." And then a whale showed up and leaped out of the water. Presence is the promise. Show up anyway. That's what you do when it's father time. All right. Courage got us on the plane, but I have to tell you what the research spiral looked like before we left. It was crazy. Funny factory right after this. Well, in the funny factory, we're going to talk about the Mexico research spiral. I don't know about you the last time you went traveling, but travel has been tricky lately. Let me walk you through the Mexico research spiral. It starts innocently. You type Cabo San Lucas safe 2026 into Google, and that's what responsible adults do, right? And then the top result, of course, is a Reddit thread from 2019 titled, "I fear for my life in Cabo." Yeah, you're already now spiraling. You haven't packed a single sock. Yeah, tab 2, State Department website. Yeah, legally required to list every way a U.S. citizen has ever been inconvenienced anywhere on Earth. You read the Cabo section, then the whole Mexico section. Then you accidentally click on Guatemala. Hey, now you're not going to Guatemala. Your son's going on his mission there. But tab 3, the travel blogger who loves Mexico. Oh yeah, they've been 47 times. Stunning photos. Says it's the safest place she's ever been. You feel better for 90 seconds. Then you scroll the comments. Someone named Dad of 4 says, "She obviously hasn't been to Cabo San Lucas." Okay, Dad of 4 now has more authority than the woman with 47 trips. Welcome to the internet. Ha! Welcome to the good news. Go search it out. Tabs 4 through 12, more of the same. Travel agents say go. News articles say don't. Travel advisor thread from a man who had a bad experience in 2022 still wants justice. A YouTube video called "Truth About Cabo." It's a timeshare pitch. At some point, your spouse walks in, you guys have that chat. 17 tabs, printed State Department advisory, highlighted map of Baja California. She closes the laptop and says, "Honey, we're going to Cabo." She was right. It was awesome. We went. The whale showed up. The only thing that almost ruined spring break was me and my 17 tabs open researching how scary it was going to be. So the moral of the story is, yeah, do the research, make the call. We were very blessed that nothing tragic happened while we were there. And we know that. But then close all the tabs. You cannot live fully in a place you've already left 17 times before you arrive. So, I think it would be fun now that I'm back home and able to try this out. I mean, I've had a little technical difficulty today. I'm hoping my team can help me out, and I hope that you'll stay with me in case there's a major flub up here. I'm going to actually switch the cameras and go over to the piano for a second. The piano is right next to me here in my office, and I'm going to play the theme song of this entire show. So let's see if that'll work. Yes, you can see that I have my shorts on. All right, I'm at the piano. I hope you can hear me. There it is. Here's what we're going to do. This song, obviously, if you're watching, and you can see that I have a harmonica on, and I'm at the piano. So I'm going to play both at the same time. Billy Joel is the first one I ever saw do that, and he inspired this song. I wrote this because I am a traveling man, and we just got done traveling, so that's where it's coming from. This is the theme song to the show. We tried it a few episodes ago. It didn't pan out as perfect as we wanted, so we're going to try it now. Know that you don't know my name yet, but I hope someday you will. But knowing my luck, it'll be when I'm over the hill. I might be an overnight triumphant story someday. Then the years on the road are finally gonna start to pay. This might be the last time I ever see this place. This might be the last time you ever see my face. And I will give my best for you like I did for the ones before. This is all I can give you forevermore. Cause I am the traveling man. My unpacked suitcase says I am. Well, tomorrow I'll be gone. You'll forget my song. I am the traveling man. La 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 la. Oh, I am the traveling man. Oh, I am the traveling man. I am the traveling man. Oh, I am the traveling man. Yeah, I hope it worked. Okay. Hopefully you heard that. If not, it was fun to play anyway. All right. Here's what's fun about that song for me, in my opinion, is that, as I travel, my unpacked suitcase says that I'm the traveling man. That's just how I go. But wherever I go, I'm going to give my all. That's what that song's about. And so I'm glad that hopefully it worked. I guess we'll find out later. But, we've talked about Mexico. We've talked about so many things as we start to wrap up this show for this week. And thank you for joining us. We're going to hit one more segment called the Fitness Minute. And, because vacation destroys your discipline faster than almost anything. So we're going to roll right now into the Fitness Minute. All right, welcome to the Fitness Minute. Yeah, we're talking fitness. Hello, ladies. Okay, discipline and order. Coming back from vacation is a real discipline test, isn't it? So your body's off schedule. The routine is the first casualty. You know this. This is why today I want to talk about something more important than most fitness conversations. It's not just what you do, it's when. Now, you can eat healthy at the wrong time. That's a weird thing to think about, but I've done this. It's chronobiology, the science of your body's internal clock. It shows that insulin sensitivity and fat metabolism vary by time of day. A clean meal at 10 p.m. produces a different metabolic response than the same meal at noon. So you can be disciplined, but at the wrong time. And then that leaves most of the benefit on the table. You can work out too late in the evening even. I know I've been guilty of that, and that's why I wrote this segment as I was sitting there thinking, okay, if I'm working out this late, maybe I should try to flip it. So exercise raises cortisol and core body temperature. Make sure to do it. Signals of wakefulness. Sleep medicine research found vigorous exercise within 2 hours of bedtime significantly disrupted sleep quality. Yeah, you checked the box. You got the workout in. You flexed at 10 p.m. and then you stared at the ceiling till midnight because your body thought it was noon. Discipline. Wrong order. Okay, so you can have a full morning routine and never get to fitness either, right? That's usually what happens, and that's why I wanted to talk to you about the order of discipline. Is because you wake up, you check your phone, 3 emails, breakfast, news, 2 more emails, it's 8:45. The workout window's closed while you're managing the inbox. You're either going to go hit it at 10 p.m. or tomorrow for sure. Sounds familiar? I know I'm guilty of it. So morning exercise is different, and I'm going to start preaching this because I've found that for myself just in the last little bit. A 2021 study in the International Journal of Obesity found people who exercised in the morning were significantly more likely to maintain their habits long term. Not because it burns more calories, but because it comes before the decisions that crowd it out. So before the email, before life decides what matters, Morning exercise isn't just exercise, it's a declaration, it's a promise. This matters before everything else. So here's what this has to do with the whole show. Right order, family first, faith first, fitness before the inbox. That's tough. Can you commit to that? Can you get to that place with your promise? The discipline isn't the question. You already show up for everything the day demands. The question is, in what order? All right. Do you want to know how you can really ramp up your workouts? Cardio Miracle. I talk about this in every single podcast because it's changed the way that I'm able to perform. I'm able to recover. I'm able to have a great workout every single morning. This is the first thing you put in your body. You're going to have a great workout. If you don't know what Cardio Miracle is, it's the world's #1 nitric oxide supplement. And it's incredible for you because when it goes into your body, we need 3 main gas molecules in our body: oxygen, carbon dioxide, and nitric oxide. So if we have those 3 things happening, the nitric oxide goes in and dilates the blood vessels, allows the blood to flow better. So then you have a better workout. You have a greater chance of recovery. So whether you take it before, which I do, or take it after, which I do, your vascularity will improve. If you're flexing the mirror, you'll see the bigger muscles and the veins popping out. That's a cool thing. Bodybuilders have been using this forever. I mean, they've been doing this for 40 years. And the vitamin D3 supplement as well vitamin D3 is actually released from your fat cells when you take Cardio Miracle. It's that good for you. And so I talk about it as much as I can because they are the sponsor of the show. We appreciate them. We're grateful for them. And of course, they have some great deals out there. If you want to scan this code, you can go grab it. Otherwise, just go to cardiomiracle.com and check it out. If you go check it out, you can try it for 60 days for free. Seriously, I don't know very many people that have ever sent it back and gotten the money back guarantee, but yeah, you can try it for 60 days. And if on day 60 you say, hey, that didn't work for me, I need my money back, we send the money right back. This is my family company. This is my father, John Hewlett, the formulator and the founder of this great idea company, and it's saving people around the world. So I hope you'll check out Cardio Miracle. It will make all the difference in your life, in your workout, in the way and the order of which you do things, whether it's going to sleep on time, if it's trying to recover. Maybe you know somebody that's got some issues with cardiovascular health. Do you know anybody that's had a surgery lately? Do you know somebody that's unable to recover quickly after a game of pickleball? Do you know any folks that are maybe like your in-laws or people you care about a lot that are going through some hard things? Maybe their mind isn't as sharp. That could be very well due to blood flow not reaching those areas that needs to. Do you know anybody with neuropathy in their fingers or their feet? That might just be a blood flow issue as well. Imagine if you had something outside of some kind of, maybe questionable prescription from a doctor. What if you just put the most healthy things in your body you could possibly flood it with? This has 58 natural ingredients. It's been curated by scientists, by chemists, by some of the smartest people I've ever met. And so it's a delicious drink. Pour it in your water, ready to go, first thing in the morning. Cardio Miracle can change your life. It's changed mine. I'm so thankful for it. I hope that you'll check it out. And yeah, that is my pitch on it. And I also hope that you understand that as I talk about it, it is the order in things that we do, right? If it's better to make sure that you're doing it in the right sequence, in the right way. And so often we get trapped into that thing of thinking, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I can just do that now. No, I found for my body, and I'll just tell you my routine. I don't eat until about 2:00, and I don't eat after 6:00. My body doesn't like to have me eat after 6, even if it's a healthy meal. So I just don't do it. And I've maintained a really good weight for the last few years because of that. Cardio Miracle is the first thing I put in my body every single morning. That allows me to get into the 2:00 hour without eating. It's cool. It's amazing. It's all nutrition. It's healthy and it's wonderful. I hope that you'll check it out, and I hope that you've had a great time with me today. And Thank you for letting me share about my family. I'll throw a little photo of them up again one more time. I love these guys, and my reason for doing everything I do is them. I hope that as you look at my family, you're thinking of yours and the people that are most important to you. And, the promise, put it first, because everything that comes after goes better when you do. And discipline in the right order, that's the whole show in 5 words, I guess. So let's bring it home with this. Where is the good news? Let's wrap up. Thank you for being here with me. Where is the good news? Here's what we found. The good news is a newsletter that brought new faces here this week, and I welcome you, and I hope you stayed, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to comment and let me know what you'd prefer to hear or see, I would love to know. And, we're just going to keep tweaking until I get it right on the cues and I get the videos loaded right. My team is amazing, and I'm so thankful for them. So thank you for being here, and you found the show at the right time. The good news is Easter as a reminder. It's not as a holiday that ended Sunday, but as a promise that didn't. The empty tomb is still empty. And that's still true. When we landed from Mexico and heard the worst news of of our lives so far, it's been terrible. Our 15-year-old friend, Xander, has passed. And the good news says that's not the end of his story. And the good news is a whale showing off the coast of Cabo San Lucas, showing up for my family that we almost didn't even go. Presence is the promise. Show up anyway. The good news is the right order. Fitness before the inbox. Faith and family before the noise. My friends, that's a show. We try to keep it around 45 minutes. Every Thursday, not because the world gets easier, but because the good news doesn't expire on Sunday, and neither do we. So I just want to say thank you for being here. And I'm Jason Hewlett. This has been the Jason Hewlett Show. See you next Thursday. Share this with your friends. Until then, keep the promise and have a great day. Thank you so much for being here.